Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch. How about we make rock, not war? Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the heavy metal happy hour with the one and only Fishman.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Get out.
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. While you're rocking with us at Toxic Radio, don't forget to check us out on social media.
I want details, and I want them right now.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Now you're talking, brother.
Chat with us, keep up on news. Just don't make it weird. Don't be a stalker. Don't be that guy.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
Toxic Radio. Get infected. Hey guys, dating life going pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy, I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies. Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host here, Donnie. I'm joined by my co-host, Big Time Tim Gorgeous. Beautiful, Tim. You ever think about doing announcing for like professional wrestling?
I've heard I had the voice of an angel.
Speaking of professional wrestling, Tim, I'd love to talk more to you, but we're joined in the studio by our guest. He's part of Ring of Honor. He's a professional wrestler, local South Jersey guy. We got Gabe Alessi.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. That was a good intro, Tim. I think you got a future, man.
I'm practicing. It's been, what, almost 2 years now?
I'm impressed.
It's getting down.
Tim was made for professional wrestling. He's a character. But, Gabe, thank you for coming by, man. I appreciate you coming to the studio. You know Tim, you guys are, what, cousins?
Yeah.
So I heard all about you, man. You got an awesome story. You're doing great things. You're with Ring of Honor, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And how long you been doing the pro wrestling?
December will be 6 years.
6 years. So did you wrestle in high school? You went to Gloucester Catholic, right?
Yeah.
I think you got to talk into the microphone.
Yeah.
Tim, tell me I don't.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you, it's a problem.
Yeah, so I went to Gloucester Catholic. I graduated in 2014. I wrestled for 1 year in high school.
At Gloucester Catholic?
Yeah, yep.
But tell us, how'd you get into professional? Was it a dream of yours, or?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, Tim could tell you, our family, it was just all about wrestling all the time. I mean, everyone always watched it. It was always what was on TV. It's always what we talked about. And I'm just, figured why not go for it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it outside before the show. It was funny because he's like, I never actually met Larry Sharp. And he trained at the Monster Factory. I'm like, no, you did. There was it was his birthday party, actually, at the Monster Factory. Larry Sharp was there. So it goes way back.
And you went on to train at the Monster Factory?
Yeah, I started there. I think I was 19 years old when I started. And I was there for a few years, and then I graduated to the Ring of Honor dojo.
So, Monster Factory, it was known because of Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. He passed away. It became whatever, but how it's still known. The name it brings a lot, especially you're from South Jersey. I know me as a kid growing up, I always wanted to be a pro wrestler too, and Larry Sharp was like a god to me. He was like one of the biggest guys in town, and what did he do? He trained big wrestlers. What did I want to be? A big wrestler.
Yeah.
So how was it actually going in there as a 19-year-old kid who always wanted to do that?
I mean, it was amazing. It was awesome. I met the head trainer when I was there was Damian Priest. He's now in WWE. He's doing real big things.
Awesome guy. I wrestled my first match against him. He was one of my trainers, training partners. And look at him, man.
Yep. He was awesome. I mean, everything I learned about wrestling, it came from him. I would have never been anywhere without him. He really took me under my wing, or under his wing. He would take me to ROH shows with him, introduce me to people when he was there. So,
you know, unfortunately, professional wrestling is just for whatever reason we were talking about earlier, it's just a sport, entertainment, whatever, that's filled with bad people who just aren't good people, and other people don't care. Like I say, you can be whatever, and if you're running a wrestling promotion and you're guaranteeing to book somebody and give them like $20, they don't care what you did. They have sexual predators, just bad people. So seeing someone like Damien, you know, it's just different. He's a genuinely good dude who busted his butt, and you know, he made it.
Yeah,
older in life, man. His story was pretty remarkable. When I was there before you, he had given up. You know, he said, "Hey, I didn't make it, but maybe you guys can." You know, he knew his time. Probably he thought his time passed. He had a chance. He got hurt in a tryout and kind of gave up that dream. And to see him in his mid-30s, I think it was, to give that dream one more shot, man, and see guys. I'm sure so many people like you were inspired because now he's wrestling WrestleMania. He's one of the biggest guys in WWE.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. Like you said, you know, I've hung out with him many times. I've heard his story about, as you said, you know, he was going to quit. He didn't think he had any future. He did his first tryout. They told him, you know, we're just not interested. But he just stuck with it. And like you said, look at him now. He just had one of the biggest matches at WrestleMania.
And he's getting bigger. I think he's going to be the biggest thing in wrestling.
Yeah.
He's getting big that quick. And I remember, like you saying, he said he kind of gave up. We had, I think, one of the tryouts, the first tryout with Gerald Briscoe. He was with WWE at the time. He'd come, and a lot of our guys ended up getting signed because of him. But I remember before that tryout, he gave us like a speech and basically said, like, hey, my time, you know, I blew it. And to see him make it after going through all that, it's just, I'm sure it was inspiring having him as your trainer, seeing what he's doing now. Sure, you still talk to him a lot?
Yeah, every once in a while. I'll send him some of my matches, get some advice still. Every once in a while, if he's around, I'll still text him.
I mean, he's doing big things over there. He's in the U.S. title picture now. He was in that with the whole Grammy Award winner, Bad Bunny's his name, right? Went on to have WrestleMania with Damian Priest. Went on to have sold-out shows all across the country. It's insane.
So most people, you know, even me, before I got into pro wrestling, I had no idea how to become a pro wrestler. As, you know, there's other local people out there, young kids who are growing up and they want to be a professional wrestler. Tell us, how was that process? How did you go about it? Were you training for it beforehand?
So, like, honestly, like Tim mentioned, I think my 5th birthday, I had it to Monster Factory. So I always kind of knew what it was. And then I graduated high school. I was supposed to go play football at college. I stayed at college for about 2.5 hours and made my mom take me home. So I came home and I was just like...
Not a college fan?
No. I'm still in college, but I go online now. But I was like, you know, okay, now's my chance to try this. Like, I wanted to still kind of be an athlete, and I was like, okay, so I could be a wrestler. And I was watching YouTube videos, and the Monster Factory came up. And I seen Nick in a video, Nick Camarado.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. I went to the same high school as him.
Now, Nick Camarado, if people don't know, he went to Gloucester Catholic. He's actually best friends with some of my best friends. And he was signed to WWE, trained at the Monster Factory. He's in AEW right now. Yeah. So I'm sure is that what really got you in there, seeing a guy like you?
Yeah, I was like, he's from where I'm from. He went where I went. If he's doing it, why can't I do it? And I went there, and Nick was one of the first people I really formed a close bond with. You know, we bonded over Gloucester Catholic. He knew my older brother. They were 1 grade apart at Gloucester Catholic. So I guess I got to give credit to Nick, too, for getting me into wrestling.
And you had an athletic background. You played football. You did some wrestling, amateur wrestling. Did that help you?
I wasn't really good at amateur wrestling. I don't think I ever won a match. So
look at you now. Who's laughing now?
Yeah, it definitely don't. But the footwork and all that, you know, it's cool. I went in with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of the footwork's the same, knowing holds, full Nelsons, you know, how to shoot a half, how to make things look legit.
Yeah, you went in at 19. I guess I started at the Monster Factory. I was 25, but similar story. I played college football. I had dreams of, these NFL dreams, and my first dream was always wrestling. So when the football thing just didn't work out, I was like, what do I want to do with my life? And I look back to what I wanted to do as a kid. I was like professional wrestling, and I ended up there at the Monster Factory with, in the Larry Sharp days. But it's awesome being a part that it's in our community. You think it's different being a Monster Factory guy that's born and raised in South Jersey than people move from all over the world. Yeah. Sheamus came from Ireland to train there. Big Show moved from Chicago to train in Paulsboro. You think it's different being a hometown guy, more pressure, or is it better?
I mean, when I was there, it was definitely more pressure because, I only lived 20 minutes away, so I never had an excuse not to be there. Like, when I was there were some kids that were coming 5-6 hours every day from New York. They, could be like, oh, I don't think I can make it today to training, and we were training 5 days a week at the time. So, like, it was a lot. And, I never had an excuse because I was 20 minutes away. But that made me better, So I guess it's a positive. Yeah,
that was the one thing that still, stuck from the Larry Sharp days. He had, no nonsense. He had no excuse. He didn't care. Like, I remember telling him one time, like, oh, but so-and-so's not there. He's like, well, you're not so-and-so. You have your own goals and all that. They treat it like a business, and a lot of people nowadays, you see it, man. These corny promotions, these people just don't take it serious. So it's cool to see, Larry was able to create something that stayed for so long and really respected wrestling. Did you notice that they're different from other places?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was definitely no nonsense. It wasn't, some of these schools, these kids come in, they play around, they want to play wrestler, but it wasn't like that there. We ran that like a sports team. Our training was 3 hours. The first hour and a half was conditioning. We ran sprints. We did in-ring drills. People were throwing up all over the place. It was serious. It was really serious.
So you started, what year was it? Say 6 years ago. How long did it take you for your first match? Did you?
About 9 months.
9 months. I think that's around what I was.
Yeah.
Were you excited? How did that feel? Was your family there? Was it at the Monster Factory?
So my first match, technically, we were doing a
birthday party. Right?
Yeah, my first one was actually a birthday party. But like my first real one, it was like a fundraiser up in like North Jersey, like a taco festival show, Like when they
taco fundraiser, like sounds like a good time.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Tim, were you there?
The taco festival shows, you guys were they around? Like Cinco de Mayo shows.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. I know exactly.
So yeah, so it was like something.
They'd
like
always
that.
take all the Puerto Rican wrestlers. I was never invited.
Did you have to wear like a lucha?
I did do that one time, but
never
not
got one invite.
But and I was just there because I was a student at the time, and I was helping build the ring, and he was just like, hey, like the show doesn't start till 3, but people are out there. Go out there and wrestle. So like I was completely not prepared at all, and like it was real nerve-wracking, but I think that's sometimes the best way to do it, because if not, then you got to sit and overthink it. And I just went out. It was probably a terrible match, but
so you went from that, and now you wrestle Ring of Honor. They're one of the bigger companies. It's pretty an honor to wrestle for them. How did that come about? How did you get your first big break to get in Ring of Honor?
So I wasn't wrestling for very long, probably about maybe a little under 2 years, and I did my first Ring of Honor tryout. And I'm in a 6-man tag team, so I have 2 other partners, and we went to the tryout, and we did good. We did all right. They told us they wanted us to get new gear, work on some things, come back, but they liked us. They seen interest. They told us to keep in touch. So we would go to some of the shows, do ring crew, be extras, help out. And then I guess about 2 years later, they did another tryout. And we went to that one. We did good, I thought. And then as we were leaving, BJ Whitmer was there at the time. And he was like, hey, can you guys come here? I got to talk to you. And we thought like we got in trouble or something. And he called us in, and he was like, congratulations, I want you guys to start training here, which was awesome. And I loved the training there. The only bad part was it was in Baltimore. So 3 times a week, I was driving 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back.
And this was just, before you were signed or anything big. This was just doing it to chase a dream that you always had as a.
Yeah, it was completely unpaid. It was, it was come here for a chance, an opportunity.
And that's the difference. I see you mentioned setting the ring up and stuff. So many people, they want to be that champion. They see a guy like Damian Priest. He went to the Monster Factory, they said, and then he got signed to WWE. People forget everything in between. This guy was setting up rings when I was there. This guy was traveling, getting no money. He wasn't making money wrestling, and just, he grinded forever. If you got a dream, you find a way. Any way you do the things like driving 2.5 hours both ways to train, setting up rings just with a chance that somebody might offer you one day to jump in a battle royal or something.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, I drove for a while. We were driving like once a month to Georgia and back to do some shows. I've been to Connecticut for no pay. I mean, it's all part of it.
Tell us what states you've been to for no pay. Connecticut,
Connecticut, Georgia, New Jersey.
Yeah.
In no other business can you be like, I went and worked one of these things for no pay, and I've been to this many states for no pay.
Gabe has told you, I'm telling you, I've been in all different, I've been in some shady places in the world. You will find no shadier people than you will in the pro wrestling world. Gabe's been around a lot of the snakes. Some of the snakes, unfortunately, you ran in with some. I know some of the people, and they're just scumbags.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Did it turn you off from the business, being so close to some of the biggest scumbags on all professional wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, really, like, you got to just do your own thing, I don't get involved with people. I don't have a lot of, like, personal, like, I look at wrestling as a business,
Exactly.
It's not, I'm not there to make friends or nothing, and that's a good way to keep yourself away from them kind of situations, because you never know. The guy you could be out with could be one of these guys, and it's happening every day now.
Yeah, I mean, when we started the show, they had that whole speaking out movement in pro wrestling, and you just watch some of the biggest stars in the world, some of the biggest biggest companies became scumbags overnight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they missed a bunch of scumbags too.
Yeah, well,
imagine how many other ones there are.
People realized they were scumbags overnight. They were scumbags the whole time, but
yeah, so I mean, you never know. That's why I just keep to myself.
So we'll get off the scumbags for a minute, but you don't want to get me started.
I kind of do.
But you did this professional wrestling thing. It must have been awesome, like a dream come true. Your family got to see you wrestle and everything. And then, we're hungry for hope. We don't just share the hope. We share some of the darker times and the tragedies. In 2019, I think it was, your big brother, Christian, passed away March, same year as my brother. I've told you, I shared it with me, my brother. He was my idol, my best friend. He was my big brother. And he passed away in March of 2014. And I was probably the same year in the wrestling just like you. Same thing.
Yeah.
Trained at the Monster Factory. Real similar, man. Now tell me, I lived it, and I'm open about how it affected me, and it took me to the darkest road I've ever imagined in my life, and I was lucky enough to make it out of that. But it was some hard years. And how are you able to still wrestle? And you kind of not just wrestled, you've grown even bigger after his death. How was that, dealing with that?
It's like, I mean, it was crazy, man. It was really hard. I know I wrestled a show probably 3 days after, and like, it was like good in a way to have wrestling, because it was something to take your mind off of it for a little bit, you're not really thinking about it. But like, the thing that sucks is like, me, like, he loved wrestling probably more than me. Like I said, like, he's the reason I got into it. And it's a shame that he'd never really, like, I was just doing it locally, he never got the chance to really see me now move on to a bigger stage.
Yeah, man. My brother, we grew up watching wrestling just like you guys, man. And when I started, the first person I asked, I kind of got his permission before I went to open tryout with Larry Sharp. And first thing he told me, he's like, I'm only down with you doing it if you agree to be the best ever and give everything. And so I was really doing it for us. So when he passed, I felt that, like, why was I still doing this? And it was hard getting back in the ring, man. I was the first one to find out. I was out in West Virginia at a wrestling show. Just got there and I found out. So I was out wrestling and found, it was the last thing I wanted to do. How was it getting in the ring 3 days after you lost your best friend, your big brother?
Yeah, it was, you feel different for sure. It's like, it's hard to, go out there and portray like this character and, you know, be larger than life when you got so much going on, like personally, that, you know, people don't know about. People don't know that. But like I said, I think it was a good distraction, you know, for that 10 minutes you're out there, you're focusing on, you know, something not so negative. Yeah. And a lot of people reached out from wrestling. The Ring of Honor dojo, the coaches there called me. They told me, you know, take your time getting back here, you know, don't come back, take whatever time you need. They were really good about it.
Yeah, you know, you get into professional wrestling, like you said, it's just that image. Professional wrestling, these big, larger-than-life heroes, man, and people look at them as, like, you know, they're superheroes, and superheroes aren't supposed to, you know, have bad days or go through bad stuff. So I'm sure as your profession, you just got into this pro wrestling, starting to take off. You didn't really want to show that weakness. Yeah,
I mean, definitely. And, you know, it's always like these people are there to watch you, you know, and it's not fair to them if just because you're having a bad day, you go out and have a bad match or don't give your all. So you got to kind of put it aside because you never know. You could, you know, that little kid could be watching you thinking, wow, because, you know, yourself, now this kid wants to go be a wrestler or, you know, so you got to just forget about that stuff sometimes, and it's hard.
Yeah, man. I remember when I went to do a match after the first match I did after my brother's death. It was out in PA, and I get there, and they know I'm going through some things, so they said they were going to match me with somebody who get me through it and would do good, and it was Rockin' Rebel, if you know him. I guess I was just seemed like I was in a bad place. I don't remember. You know, it was just probably a month after my brother's death, and I probably just looked like somebody was going through it. And I had this guy. He's nutty. He unfortunately ended up killing his family. Like,
yeah, I've heard about him.
He was a good dude when I met him.
He was from the factory, right, or no?
Yeah, he was. He's a great dude, but you don't know what people do behind closed doors. And, you know, he did some scumbag shit, and unfortunately, he killed his family. But this guy was telling me, like, you don't seem all right. You know, he took me to the side and was, like, telling me. So I'm, like, thinking after that, once he ended up killing his, not long after, he, like, killed his family and all that. And I was like, this guy's telling me something's wrong with me, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get away from wrestling. Maybe I got to go figure out whatever this is. But I think that after that match, he was great, though. He walked me through it. He was an awesome guy. Sucks what he did and everything. Pretty scumbag. But he was nice to me that day. And I know it helped me, that wrestling, having him. It did help me that he came and pulled me to the side and shared some experience of loss that he went through and stuff. So I'm sure there was some people who helped you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, as much as there's scumbags in wrestling, there's a lot of good people too, you know. And I got like 4 or 5 of like my best friends I've met through wrestling, and like obviously like I let them know immediately what was going on. And like I said, like the Ring of Honor dojo, all the other students there, like when they saw me, man, and like we were like the new kids there, so like we weren't really, but like, man, they all came over to talk to me and let me know if I needed anything. Like, so they're really good people in wrestling too.
Yeah, you know, in wrestling, you don't want anything to stop, because people are so funny. You don't want to give anybody a chance to stay away from you. You don't want people to know, like, if you have some kind of problem, addiction, or you suffered a tragedy, because the first thing they're going to be like, oh, this person, you know, he's going through this, maybe we shouldn't. So you probably, you know, it's hard to bring that stuff out when you're looking. You know, the goal is to get $1 million contracts and wrestle for big companies. So was it a little hard, you know?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you had to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. I mean, I do remember there being a couple days where, you know, I'd wake up in the morning, like the days when we would go train at the dojo. Obviously, I couldn't work because I think training used to start at 4, and it was 3 hours there. So them days I couldn't work a job. So I'd wake up early in the morning and go to the gym. And there'd be days where I was at the gym where I was like, I'm just not feeling it today, man. And I would call my coach, and I'd be like, hey, man, like, I'm just not right today. Like, I don't think I can make it in today. And like I said, they were very cool about it. They were very understanding.
Yeah, man, for anybody listening that's going through something like that, that's like the one thing that stands out different to me. You know, I want to open up to people. It was, you know, just as I thought there was a stigma. I didn't want to tell anybody. I was looking out for everybody else to make sure my family was okay. The last thing, you know, if somebody asked me, I didn't want to say I wasn't okay.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And I didn't reach out. There are people out there that can help. And a lot of people have experienced stuff like that. You don't realize there's other people who have suffered. You might not know it. There's definitely help. You just open, you know, the worst thing I did was probably keeping it all, you know, I tried to put the weight of the world on my shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely went through a little bit of that. I was, you know, Nah, I'm fine. You just don't want to talk about it, and everyone handles things differently. I keep a lot to myself, but then also it's like I don't know. I feel like with wrestling, if you're in a bad place or you're having a bad day, your bad day could end someone else's career.
By that, if people don't know, your job in professional wrestling is to protect the guy you're wrestling, correct?
Yeah.
And like you say, yeah, if the worst was going out there, somebody's like drinking or they're just going to a bad place. Like the last thing you want is to be your life in somebody's hands.
I mean, you're giving someone a body slam. You're not focusing on what you're doing. You dropped them, they're done, and that's on you and now this guy's life is ruined because you were having a bad day. So that's why I feel like it was better that if I'm having that bad day to just come out and be like, hey, I'm not feeling it today.
Now, your brother's death was 2019. Now here we are. What's the year? 2021?
21.
Somewhere around there, give or take.
And when it happened to me, it catapulted my life 100% down, like right away. And from 2014, 2015 was the worst year imaginable. And luckily, years later, here I am. I was able to use the same thing that led to my downfall to pick me back up. And everything I do now is in my brother's honor. But it was hard to get there, where we all get there at different times. Yeah, I would have wished it would have happened. I didn't have to go through all the bad stuff to get here, but I still made it here to honor him. And I see that you do that a lot now. You, what was the thing Tim was telling me? Tim, tell me about the fundraiser.
Yeah, you put together that fundraiser with one company. I forget what it's called.
Custom Ink.
Custom Ink, where he sold T-shirts to raise, what was it, awareness to overdose prevention?
Yeah, I think they give the money to
King's
Crusade. They gave the money to.
They help families and people dealing with addiction in their families.
Right.
Yeah.
So you sold your wrestling shirts?
Yeah, I just was like So originally I wanted to do a show for a fundraiser, but it was during the middle of the pandemic. I didn't know. I don't really know how to run a show. I
couldn't find a ring.
Yeah, I couldn't find a ring. Couldn't find a building. So I was like, man, I really want to do something.
It was funny because we were trying to do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And we were coming up blank.
And I was like looking, and I was like, oh man, people love wrestling T-shirts. Like especially right now, it's huge. And I was like, if I could sell a T-shirt and just donate all the money, like that would be great. So I was looking around, and I seen Custom Ink does this thing where you don't put out any money at all. Like they just make the shirts like made to order. So we ended up raising, I think, close to $1,500. I was trying for like, I think the goal was originally set at like 800, and we ended up with like 1,500. It was really cool, man.
So yeah, I got a couple of those shirts at home.
Yeah, they're good shirts. I bought 3 of them myself.
That's pretty awesome that you were able to, take, like we always say, you take a tragedy and you turn it into triumph. I'm sure it's still not easy dealing with the loss of your brother. But I feel like when you do stuff like I know through Hungry for Hope, when we do something and everything I do is in his honor, things never get better, let's be honest, but it does make you feel a little better.
Yeah, and it took me a while to ever really talk about it. Like the first year after it happened, I just didn't talk about it. I wouldn't acknowledge it, and then I was like, well, I should try to do something positive with this, And I feel like that's like I started that fundraiser, and that's something I would like to continuously do now. Like I said, maybe start running shows or maybe do another T-shirt, and because if you have the opportunity to help someone, why not do it?
Yeah, man, you had the same mind thought. I just took 5 years in between to go burn the world down and destroy my life. Just that little. I wish I wish I would have been quicker on it. But like I said, man, we're all different. Everybody goes through different shit, and nobody should be ashamed. I bring out my past. I'm not proud of it, but I own it. Take responsibility, and like you said, I use it as something to bring positivity to people. I take my dark times and use it to inspire other people, so they don't have to go through that. And I'm sure other people seeing what you went through and they know how it is, how tragic it is and devastating to have a sudden loss of a brother young. How old was he?
I think it was right before his 28th birthday. Would have been in April. 28th or 29th.
Yeah, so that was that's with my brother, 29, and you know, it's just that young and sudden like that, man. It definitely affects people. There's so many people out there dealing with it, and they're doing it in silence. A lot of these people, and they might be. If you don't bring it up, you don't talk about it, you end up doing other stuff to get these feelings away, man. People end up self-medicating, whatever it is, and it's usually not good.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, like you said, people do it. Like that day, like the day he died, first thing I did is I left my house and I just went to the gym for like 3 hours because I just, you know, like I couldn't like comprehend what was going on, and like that was my way to just push it out of my head and just like ignore it, kind of, you know. And, you know, that's probably not the healthiest way to handle problems, but...
I'm not a doctor, but...
Yeah.
Have you noticed since he passed, though, you said he's the one who got into you? It was kind of like how me and my brother, was both our dreams. Do you feel like you go a little extra, you try to give a little more when you think of him sometimes?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It's like, you know, now it's like I just... If I didn't want to make it before, now I really want to. And as I'm doing it, as I'm coming up, I would like to, like I said, use my platform to help other people. This is something I would like to continue to do, you know, do these fundraisers or any way you can. Because you might as well, like you said, turn negative into a positive.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when I decided to, you know, start opening up my story and stuff, at first it wasn't because I wanted to, it was just... from seeing it, and I knew if I didn't share it, there's people out there who needed to hear that. Like when I was going through bad times, I thought it was just me. I thought God had cursed me with this horrible tragedy of losing my brother, and nobody else is ever going to deal with it. You know, poor me, poor me. When other people were going through and they would have talked about it, so seeing somebody like you, 26, wrestling on TV, Ring of Honor, I'm sure there's other people. It doesn't have to be going through any kind of hard times. Any person going through something, they look at you. And everybody knows losing a sibling can't be easy, and they see that you've been able to do amazing things since, and you never forgot where you came from. You give back, you donated to this nonprofit and all that stuff. I'm sure you've helped a lot of people, you don't even know it.
Yeah, and like you said, for sure, like the thing is, like, you don't even realize how many people you know that went through the same thing as you if you don't talk about it. Like, once I started talking about it more, it's crazy, you know, how many people that have lost family members the same way, and you would have never known. You kind of think sometimes, like you said, oh, it's only me, I'm the only one going through this, but it's not like that. And that's like, I feel like the more you talk about it, the more you see you're not so alone.
Yeah, man. Silence can unfortunately, it's serious. It can lead to people, your death. And you said the why me. That's what every day I woke up when I was going through them hard times. I said, why me? You know, same thing as you. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I was in line. I was doing pro wrestling, and then like that, I lost everything. When my brother died, I wasn't wrestling. So I wake up and ask, like, why me?
Yeah.
And now today, I say up and yes, me. You know, I understand. I was given whatever these obstacles and everything, so I could help people. And with open arms, I welcome everything in my life today. But it took a while to get there. It's just cool seeing, you know, somebody not have to suffer through what I suffer, because I don't wish it on my worst enemy. You know, it's awesome seeing somebody so young too, being, what were you, 24?
Yeah, I guess I'm probably 25 now, so like 23, 24.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I was around that age. It's hard dealing with something, especially when you're going through the crazy world of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just cool to see you inspire. I think we got a question for you too.
Speaking of professional wrestling, nice segue. I know. Somebody in the chat asked, "What was your favorite match that you've wrestled?"
Man, I really get that question a lot. It's hard. Probably my first match for Ring of Honor, which was a dark match in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I never got to see the footage of it. And it was against they're the Tate twins now. They were Dalton Castle's boys.
Okay.
And yeah, I think because that was like the first time that I really felt like, all right, cool. Like I can hang in a major company. Like we were the dark match, and we were in the ECW where One Night Stand was. Like
I had a Hammerstein.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was awesome. So probably that.
So not the taco festival.
Nah, they're fun though, man. I did have a match there with a little luchador mask on. That was a good time. They gave us free tacos and tequila after. That was awesome.
Are they hiring still? Or
I don't know. Maybe I don't
want to get back into wrestling, but I'm thinking about it.
I mean, there's a regular taco festival. David Feldman, the owner from BKFC, is doing the taco festival in Philly.
And he's not going to have wrestling there? I feel like they all have wrestling.
He's real tied into I don't know how to describe it anymore. Is it little people wrestling or is it still
micro
championship wrestling?
Yeah.
Is that Ducktown Tavern? Great spot if you're in Atlantic City. Stop by there for some wings. But,
I almost got us canceled accidentally right there, but yeah, micro.
Yeah,
wrestling.
micro.
What do you call them? Little people?
Yeah,
Are you allowed to do that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm like the worst person to come to advice about this stuff. We should have been canceled probably 100 times.
You know, the wee little guys. They run around.
Micro Championship Wrestling. They're actually running July 24th.
They run an AC
at Ducktown,
right?
Yeah, it's a little show, but no, it's a short time away. July 20. Let's get back onto the bigger things.
Well, we got another question in the chat.
Have you ever seen a? Oh no.
Well, first we have to. I'm already getting text message from Terrence.
Yeah, he just texted me. Yeah, sorry.
You have to acknowledge the fact that he did have us watching pro wrestling a lot.
He loves to tell the story that when we were down the shore, and he says, I guess I was like 1 or 2 that he had wrestling on, and he said that I dove off the couch like Jimmy Snuka onto him. He was sitting on the floor, and he said he knew it since then that I was going to be a wrestler. So he's got to get the credit.
Yeah.
And who's this?
My stepdad, his
my
godfather.
uncle. Yeah, my godfather. Yeah.
He's a big fan, man. He's always talked.
Yeah, he loves wrestling.
Told me about you and always asked, questions and all that stuff and kept me up to date. Told me you wrestled and everything. He's a great guy, definitely. But what was the question?
Oh, yeah, that question. Who is your favorite, or I guess who's your favorite pro wrestler of all time and current pro wrestler? We'll break it into 2 questions.
Favorite of all time? Shawn Michaels, definitely.
Oddly enough, this pen says HBK on it. I don't.
Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah, definitely. He's my favorite. And right now, can I pick myself?
Sure. If you want to throw humbleness out the window, that's fine.
I pick myself. I'm my own favorite.
What's it called? I'm confident, not cocky.
I'm cocky, not confident.
Yeah. Well, but either way, either one works for me.
Who's your favorite cousin?
Ooh.
Do you think you could beat Tim in a fight?
In celebrity boxing, we got to set it up.
You hear that, Damon Felmy? You know this guy almost beat the King or something. He fought the King or something. I swear to God, I was there. Who was that guy you fought? It's
Meghan Markle's brother.
Meghan Markle's
so
brother. He's a king.
Kind of, pretty much a king.
Yeah,
she's a queen. Oh no, he's a.
He's a king of England.
What's it, a jack? Or what's
you fought the king of England.
A duke.
A duke.
A duke.
This dude's name was what was his name?
Tom Markle.
Meghan Markle's brother.
Yeah.
She's famous. What? Prince Harry or something?
She married him, right?
Yeah.
One of the redheaded guy.
Yeah.
So this guy,
the one that looks like Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes before the fight, they throw Tim on the other guy that kicked out or whatever. This maniac who's Mark Wahlberg's childhood friend.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he just died actually. But whatever happened there, like Tim was there, and Tim's like, I'll fight. Who am I fighting? They're like, you're fighting the Duke, Meghan Markle's brother, and the dude dedicated the fight to. What was it?
Archie.
Baby Archie. They just had a baby,
Okay,
I guess his nephew. And Tim went out there and punched this dude in the balls.
Yeah.
It was all over the news, too.
Well, if we box, you can't do that to me.
Well, I mean, there was a reason I punched him in the balls.
Did you get in trouble for that? You can't hit a king like that.
I mean, he quit in the corner for like 5 minutes and I got aggravated, but whatever.
Would you fight Tom Markle in a rematch?
I would fight him in a rematch with one arm behind my back.
Would you fight Gabe in a not rematch?
I would need both arms.
Hey, man, I was a kickboxer when I was a little kid. I don't know how good I was, but I did it.
So you had kickboxing? So you had a lot of stuff that got you in there.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could lift my leg over the table.
All right, relax, Tim. We brought up his...
You got him all fired up.
His celebrity boxing. But you talk about kickboxing. We talked about celebrity boxing. Have you done other stuff now that you're kind of more known? You're doing the Ring of Honor. You probably you have a following. You got fans. You get into anything else?
We do some local shows still. Nothing too crazy. But no, not really. I keep it kind of low key.
Are you wrestle Ring of Honor? You travel. They just had a pay-per-view, correct?
Yeah, in Baltimore.
So were you there for that?
Yes.
How's that being part of these? They're pretty big.
Yeah, this was the first one back with fans since the pandemic, so it was really cool to see have fans back. That was like, I mean, you could see, we didn't work on the show, but watching the guys, you could see they gave it that little extra push, knowing that fans are back.
Was it packed in there?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know.
That was the same weekend they did Battle Riot in Philly, right?
Yeah.
In the ECW arena.
Yeah, Ring of Honor is going to be in the ECW arena August 20th and 21st.
Yeah, I would say Ring of Honor is definitely one of I would say still the premier independent wrestling promotion. MLW is kind of like right there, but I would still give the nod to Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you just saying that because your cousin wrestles
yes,
for him, Tim?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just making sure. I'm just trying to get things. We try to be fair on this show. So you're saying, all right.
I know. I like what Ring of Honor does. I like the pure wrestling aspect of it, bringing it back. It's not a bunch of dudes hitting each other. Have you ever gotten hit with a light bulb?
No, I won't.
That's hardcore wrestling.
I won't do it. I've gotten hit with a lot of things. I won't do glass.
I mean, that's good. That's a good way to look at things.
Is that where you like draw the line? Like,
yeah, no glass. No glass.
Maybe
no
a trash
fire.
can or something.
Oh,
no
yeah,
fire.
I'll do that. That's cool.
So you're not going to wrestle Nick Gage anytime soon?
Nah, don't plan on it.
And Nick Gage, he's somebody who does it good, but a lot of them, you know, that's his thing.
Well, I mean, like, let's say it's David Arquette's opinion on that.
I think Nick Gage is the best wrestler in the world. No offense, Gabe. No.
He's one of the best promo guys in the world.
And I hate them
Eddie
hardcore
Kingston.
wrestlers, but, you know, you see Nick Gage, man. He knows how to work a crowd.
Well, I already have a plan for Nick Gage. AEW needs to sign him, align him with Mox and Kingston, the CZW days.
There you go. Do a little hardcore angle up in AEW.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like he could be like a ticking time bomb. But they had a couple people for, like, you're seeing these guys, and I'm not a fan of GCW like that, the hardcore wrestling deathmatch aspect. People are. I get it. That's their thing. They kind of compare it to ECW, two totally different things. Yeah. ECW was pro wrestling mixed with some craziness. It wasn't just all light bulbs, thumbtacks, and death matches. But you see
craziness, is that like a word for drugs or something?
It's a code word. But no, like I seen the guy Ricky Shane Page popped up in AEW.
Yeah, he was just on Dark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got something. You can say it. He doesn't need to do death match.
Yeah, that's definitely not my thing. I've done ladder matches. I've done street fights, but the death match is just not my not my lane.
Didn't you say Tremont was one of the best wrestlers?
one of the, you know, some of them people that it started with that ECW. A lot of them guys were just local street guys, and they got this big break because ECW, and some of them couldn't wrestle, and that's why they did the hardcore. But so you get that image that none of these guys can wrestle. And I tell this story. I went with me and Larry used to go to a lot of local independent shows. Larry Sharp from the Monster Factory, and we went out. Doc Diamond was the guy's name. Character, pretty good dude though, out in PA, and we saw a card and Matt Tremont was on it. If you're familiar with him,
yeah, I know Tremont.
I think he runs H2O, and this was years, probably say 8 years ago, and you know he was wrestling in his hardcore gear, I think like jeans, and after Larry hated it. This guy went around the whole arena bleeding everywhere. I think there's blood on our chair, and Larry's looking at Larry, just waiting for him to say how mad he was and how horrible. And the first thing he says, he's like, "Do you know that guy who did the match, the Tremont guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Like, why did he? Everything was great until he got out of the ring and basically spilled blood all over that. Like, what was he thinking? So there, you know, Larry was a huge fan of him. I saw it up close. He's like, if that kid would, you know, do regular wrestling, he could be big time. So there are some people. We had Sabu stop at the Monster Factory. I thought he was going to teach me how to hit people with a light bulb. All we did was we did lockups all day. I had scars on my bruises.
Well, no, Sabu could wrestle his ass off. He just liked to do barbed wire shit with Terry Funk. Yeah. But Brendan posted in the chat. Dylan wants to know, which wrestler would you like to wrestle the most? It's a solid
like
question.
Anywhere.
Donnie Hart.
Like any company.
Anywhere. We can do it right here. I don't care. Current wrestler. Or?
Yeah, what's current?
Man, Bray Wyatt's my favorite. I would love to wrestle him. I think our characters could have a pretty cool little exchange.
Trying to write yourself into a storyline.
Yeah. He's not around right now though, so we'll wait.
That was weird shit too. Like I don't even want to get into it. This isn't a WWE show.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go with him. I would like to get the Wyatt family versus Primal Fear, or the New Day.
What do you think about them being ranked the #1 tag team, greatest tag team of all time?
I mean, I feel like they are for at least my generation.
Maybe your generation, but when I think greatest tag team of all time, I think Hart Foundation. I think
I wasn't.
Demolition, or Legion of Doom. Road Warriors.
It's not even a competition. It's Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Now that was a little before your time.
See, that's what I mean. That's
Hart Foundation. You know, my last name was Hart, so watching them, they're Canadian, so kind of doing. You know, they're American. I don't like them just because you know you want to root for your own. Legion of Doom was it, man. When I wrestled, I got the mohawk. Yeah. I saw them guys, and I was like, I want to be. I don't know, whatever they do, I'm doing it.
See, I feel like that's my generation, but with the Hardy Boys. Everyone wants to be the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, that's why you saw them.
It was, I guess, our generation, the Rockers.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty.
That's the difference. That's the difference between my generation and your generation.
Yeah.
You guys looked up to the Hardys. I looked up to the Legion of Doom. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, whatever. But Legion of Doom, there was just something about them. Like, I'm sure as a kid when you were watching wrestling with your brother, you just see them and you just the way. You know, they just could get a crowd. Everybody cheered for them. They were like, they're our own superheroes.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think the problem was at the end of their run, Vince McMahon went out of his way just to tarnish their legacy.
Yeah,
because they weren't homegrown WWE people. They were WCW first. They had a couple runs there. AWA, Japan, they were huge. And they weren't. He brought them in. They had a good first run. Then when they came back, they had Hulk drunk on top of the Titantron. They had Animal tagging with what was his name? The crazy dude.
Well, Animal. I know. Yeah, he came back. I was gonna say he came back like mid 2000s. Animal with Heidenreich. Yeah,
and they just had them jobbing out.
See, that's my Legion of Doom.
What about Droz? Droz was in there for a little bit too.
Yeah. Jersey guy too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so talking about all this. Talk about these guys like Legion of Doom. We talked about Damien, who was one of your trainers, the first guy who really, opened up to you in pro wrestling and took you under his wing. He's on WrestleMania. Legion of Doom, they both passed away, but they were big time. You're in Ring of Honor, which is awesome. But now you've been in it 6 years. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I don't know. I feel like wrestling is, especially how it is right now, it's such an unpredictable business, because if you look at these guys in AEW and ask them where they were going to be 5 years ago, they didn't know a whole new company was going to pop up.
8th grade English class, they probably
yeah.
Or if you asked Braun Strowman where he was going to be 5 years from now.
Yeah, so contract. Wrestling's, there's no other business like it. It's just so unpredictable. There's really no way to tell where you're going or where you're going to go.
You watch in the beginning of AEW, right? The Vince McMahon locked up everybody he could with a contract. Then when he didn't view them as strong enough competition or will hurt his rating, I almost did my fade away from the mic there. I see Jamie Mean staring me out in the production. But where was I going with this? But he was locking them all up. Then he's just like, you know what? We don't need to do this. And he's releasing some of the biggest names. I mean, you got rumors Daniel Bryan's going to pop up in AEW back as Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. But it's just crazy. 2 years ago, you were watching everybody get locked up. Now you're watching everybody just get released that signed those big contracts.
Yeah, I feel like wrestling is like, it's a cycle, Like right now, it's kind of like, I feel like it's very reminiscent of the WWE, WCW times in the 90s. I feel like it's kind of repeating itself a little bit.
I kind of look at it like UFC and Bellator too, right? Like a lot of the UFC guys were going over to Bellator because they could get their own advertisements. They could do cameos. Yeah. They can work other dates for different, like, Tito Ortiz and all that work in wrestling promotions, but they can do that. They can go all over the country. They only wrestle 1-2 nights a week at AEW. The rest of the time, they can accept bookings all over the place. They can work at New Japan Pro Wrestling in America. They can work at GCW. They can work wherever they want on their off time.
So to stay with the wrestling, we talked about some of the obstacles you have overcome, and now you're almost, I want to call Ring of Honor the pinnacle yet. I'm sure you have bigger aspirations and dreams, but it's a hell of a spot to be at 26. What keeps you still that drive to, what gets you out of bed and helps you train a little more? Did you notice you got a little slower with the training once you got a little bigger known? Or
I don't know, because I was always taught the easy part is getting the job. The hard part is keeping it. And I always keep that in the back of my mind, that just because you get somewhere, you can't get comfortable. Because it's like right now, it's like we're in Ring of Honor, which was our goal a year ago. So now it's like, now that we're there, our next goal right now is to get the 6-man tag team championships. That's right now the only focus I have in wrestling. And we had a chance at them, but we lost the match.
Who'd you lose to? I remember seeing that.
Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor Promotions. Yeah, they're 6-man champs right now.
So when was that? You lost to them for the championship?
Yeah.
When was that?
About a month and a half ago.
Now, when you wrestle in tag team matches, is it free bird rules?
I don't know. We haven't done a tag match yet in ROH.
No?
Not yet. So we'll see how they decide to approach that.
So, like I said, it's awesome what you're doing, Ring of Honor. I don't want to ever downplay it. It's, a lot of people dream of there. It's definitely respectable for wrestler being there. And after overcoming everything, I just anybody listening to you, maybe younger kids, people going through bad times, and they just can barely get out of bed because they're fighting whatever demons. You have anything you can tell them how you went from 2019, probably the biggest tragedy of your life, to 2021 being on the way to your dream. Amazing things have happened since then. Now, any advice you give to people, or hope?
You gotta keep going. It don't always seem like it, but it gets better. It gets easier. If you have something negative that happened to you, you can channel that negative energy into positive motivation. That's how I feel. Like, now I have a reason to try to work so hard and to get to what I always talked about doing. It's like that little extra motivation. I would say just take a negative, and no matter how much it sucks and how hard it is, you got to just make it into something positive.
Yeah, man, that's a great, and we're on the topic, man. We always ask our guests, Hungry for Hope. We're all about inspiring people and giving them hope if they may have lost it. May it be from the tragedy of a sibling or other demons they're fighting. So I got to ask you, Gabe, what does hope mean to you?
I feel like I can tie right back to what I just said, You just hope. You got to use that hope that you can fight for that and it's going to get better, Like, it's going to eventually get better if you're willing to let it get better. Because, like you said, some people, they go through these tragedies and it turns into a tragedy in their own life. They self-destruct after it. So you got to take that.
Yeah. I can relate, bro.
Yeah. So, like you said, there's two roads you can go when something happens. You can either, take that road, or you can turn and make yourself better from it.
The one thing I want to tell people, obviously you don't want to go down the path I went, but if you did, it's never too late, man. I burned every bridge. I messed up everything one person can mess up in life, and I was blessed enough to make it out of that. It's never too late. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late to be what you could have or to change things. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, no.
But everybody, even they're looking at you and say, "Oh man, what? I must be messed up because I wasn't able to do what Gabe's doing." I've been in a 3-year rut. Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody finds their way to the destination by a different path. As long as you make it, I don't care if you crawl, climb, fly, get picked up by Tim, whatever.
I got pegs on my bike.
Speaking of, so Tim, you grew up. Gabe's your cousin, correct?
Correct.
How was it watching him? You've been there when he was a kid. You said you used to really get him involved in wrestling, watch wrestling with him.
I was just always getting beat up all the time by all of them.
So
I was the youngest one until Katie was born.
Yeah,
I was the youngest one.
Advantage of him being the youngest. I just remember at the House of Belmore, we would consistently be watching either pay-per-views there, or it's just in Duke's basement, wherever it may be. But we always got together a lot and watched wrestling and abused Gabe, so it was always a good time.
Yeah.
So after abusing him, how was it actually watching him when he started wrestling and seeing this cousin, your younger cousin, grow up to actually do this thing that a lot of people probably told me he could never do?
It was crazy because we all we're growing up, we're like, we want to be pro wrestlers, blah blah blah. Everybody's saying it, and then the youngest one becomes a pro wrestler and actually gets to live the dream.
It was the trickle down effect. I watched all you guys say it, and I was like, well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, somebody had to do it, and he's out there representing the family of people that wanted to be wrestlers as well.
Yeah, and watching him, he went through. I'm sure you were close with Christian. Seeing him go through that, you went through your own demons, just like me, and we made it out.
Yeah, there was 3 of us that basically were going through that shit around the same time. That all grew up together, and it was just a tough situation.
Yeah, I'm sure being coming former addict and losing somebody so close to you from it, was that And during that time, you were on the right track. Did that affect you at all?
Yeah, because it brings up the questions like, I personally survived multiple overdoses. Like, what did I do to be the one that's still here, still going? Like, it gives you the guilt a little bit, but I mean, you gotta, like Gabe said, you gotta make the most of what you got, and that's helping others.
How were you able to get past that feeling the guilt? I'm sure it's very common. I ask myself that.
It's like, what is it, survivor's remorse?
Yeah.
And something like that can easily be, he was close to you. That could definitely be something that got you off your track that you were on for a couple years at the time, doing good. How were you able to keep it all together and not go back to your old ways, especially with that guilt?
Same thing I say all the time, just helping others, get you out of your mindset. At that time, I remember exactly when it happened, where I was. I was with my new boss, driving to my new job that I just started that day with a different cell phone company as a district manager, when my mom called me and let me know what was happening, and that it was just like, I had to do something to get myself out of my head and thinking about it was weird. I remember the exact details, the exact text messages, but it's like, I don't know, just went head in with the new job to keep my mind off of stuff, and then helping others when I could. I think I was getting a divorce right around the same time too, so it was kind of
How'd that go?
I didn't lose any money.
Yeah, but I bring that up because, people, just because you made it out of, just because, not locked up or living such a horrible life, or you're not addicted, we still go through, every day's not good. You're still going to face life, man, on life's terms.
It happened, a lot of friends that I became close to when I first got sober relapsed and passed away. Like, it's tough, and that way of life, watching people that even, like, you slip up once and it could be the last time.
Yeah, man, I just definitely think it's a message people have to see. Like, just because you got out doesn't mean you're still gonna have bad days, but they're never gonna be as bad as them days that you made it through. I know for me at least. I'm sure for you too, Tim, and
Donnie was just like, Tim, you look way too happy today. Let's take you down a fucking notch right before the show ends.
Tim hates when I do that. We'll get back to Gabe. I'm sorry, Tim.
Whatever, I'm just going to go sit under.
I firmly believe it's a message people need to hear, like your message, like Tim's, like mine. Because I wish I heard it more when I was going through. Like you say, you think you're cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
And to see a blueprint of somebody who made it through, or somebody who's able to do something positive like you, sometimes that's what somebody needs to see. Somebody make it through, and you've done that. You've done all this great stuff. I would just like to know, if somebody had to describe you, Gabe, what would you hope they said? Not just as a wrestler, as a person.
That's a hard question. That's really.
That's why I gave it.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like that inspirational, I feel like if you're a wrestler, like, that's what you should strive to do, You're given the opportunity to have such a cool job where, like, it's so fun, but, like, it's a responsibility, You do have little kids looking up to you, and, like, you got to kind of be like that good role model. And I would like to try to, like I said, I'm lucky enough to have the platform that I have, and I would like to use it to bring some positivity to the world.
Yeah, you can definitely tell you're grateful. I know from what I seen in you, you're somebody. I know firsthand how it is to lose your big brother. Real similar story, me and yours, and people have right to go through bad. I shouldn't have did what I did, but
yeah,
you could say, hey, people would understand if you walked away from wrestling, you put it on hold, or you just got caught up in whatever. It's understandable, but you didn't let that be your excuse. Instead, you took it. You took something that could have broke you, and instead you helped it built you.
Yeah, and like on the flip side of like how you were saying, it's okay to, like I said, like I didn't like to talk about what happened. Like I really kept it in, but like I think it's just as important. And you can, like if you're out there and like you're embarrassed, if you had a sibling or someone in your family pass away from an overdose, like, you don't got to be embarrassed of that, you know? And like, I kind of tried to hide that for a little bit, but you never know by telling your story who you could help.
Is that was one of the things that inspired you when you sold the T-shirts, raised like around $1,500, and you picked, you know, you based it on overdose awareness and stuff?
Yeah, and like, that was the first time I ever publicly talked about it. I had people, I put like the post on my Instagram about it, and I mean, I had people that, like, obviously I'm not super close with, but like I'm friends with, that were like, I had no idea like this even happened to you, because I just never talked about it. I never acknowledged it.
Yeah, I always tell Tim, people reach out to me randomly all the time. Like, people I look, they have like great things going on in their life. They're real successful, and they're like, tell me they listened to an episode and that they can relate. They went through some, and I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
like,
you never
don't
know.
think
Yep, until you talk about it.
You never know what somebody went through or is going through. And I'm telling you, somebody's probably going through something worse than anyone going through something. For you to just have that positivity, and to actually go back and do something that gave money back to that nonprofit King's Crusade.
Yeah,
They're helping families
Yeah.
with an active addiction and people in active addiction. That's something cool. That says a lot about the character of you to go back, because I'm sure it's not easy. Just like Tim goes down to Kensington, and we feed all the homeless people down there. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, man. I want
not
to
all of
personally,
them, but we try
Yeah,
to
we
feed
feed.
as
As many as you can.
Yeah.
Now, on a different note, do you think Brock Lesnar's trying to steal your hairstyle?
Man, I think he looks awesome with that haircut. I'm a big fan of it. I hope he comes back to wrestling just to have that haircut.
I was saving that question till the end. Sorry, Jamie.
Nah, I got the Rob Van Dam haircut, man.
I feel that you got the rock hat on too.
Yeah, but the other night I was out the bar and someone said I had a mullet, and it really made me mad, like irrationally mad, like way madder than I should.
I don't know why. This is America.
But it's not a mullet. I told them that they obviously don't know what a mullet is.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be offended
I
if
was
I had
mad.
a mullet.
I've worked on this hair for a long time.
If somebody is offended and they want to reach out and find you on social media, just let you know, how could they find you?
So I have Instagram and Twitter, which are both the same handles. It's fear_Gabriel13.
Ooh.
And on Facebook, we have the Primal Fear Facebook page. And we have T-shirts for sale, one of which I'm wearing, on Pro Wrestling Tees and What a Maneuver.
First off, we can only plug our T-shirts on here.
Well, I stole the plug.
I gave you an inch. You took a mile, man. What else is new with professional wrestlers?
You got to take what you can get. Come on, you know that.
Yeah. But, Gabe, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Thank Tim for, connecting us all.
Yeah.
Thank your family, everybody, man. You have anything you want to say before we get out of here? We got to wrap it up.
Just thanks for having me, man. This is the first time I've ever done a podcast like this, that was about real life and not just wrestling and stuff like that. It was cool to get the opportunity to kind of share my story, and hopefully, it can help some people out, because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Thanks again, man. Hunger for Hope Nation. We're out of here. Big time, Tim.